Pakistan! Pakistan!
High above the plains of the Punjab, he surveys his realm.
The people were seeing darkness all around. We have now shown them light. They are seeing light.
General Pervez Musharraf, commander of a 500,000-man army with nuclear weapons. He's now headed into an uncertain future as ruler of a nation facing economic and political collapse. To lead when so many others have failed and paid with their lives. For the man who seized a nation, it's a glorious crusade. Even his mother is prepared for the ultimate sacrifice.
And he must do his best for his country. For the last drop of his blood, he should. I would be proud of his achievements. If he, God forbid, he has to die for the country, I'll be happy.
So just who is Pervez Musharraf? The man behind the army, behind the bomb. The gates to Pakistan's parliament are locked. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and his advisors under arrest. The prime ministerial motorcade has a new passenger. The prime ministerial residence, a new tenant. Already, General Musharraf looks comfortable in the job. After all, the army's had plenty of practice, ruling Pakistan for half its 52-year history. There's no timetable for return to civilian rule. No apologies for overthrowing a democratically elected government.
Unfortunately, the previous government had brought this country to the brink of an economic disaster. There was no constitutional solution as such to the ills of the country, to the problems that the country was facing. And therefore, this spontaneous response by the people and the army of action against the government, of throwing the government out.
The coup leader is enjoying a honeymoon with the people of Pakistan, who for now see the military as their nation's last chance. He may be a soldier, but he shows a politician's instinct for pleasing the masses. General Musharraf has put his army to work, repairing and desilting thousands of kilometres of irrigation canals. These waterways, vital for this largely agricultural economy, have been neglected by successive governments.
Can a law be made forcing the canal department to do the cleaning itself without the army? There is a law. They've been getting money every year. A third of that money is for cleaning canals, but they're fraudulent in mind and in spirit. There's a problem. They've got the money, they have to work. If they don't, they're betraying the country.
Democracy Pakistan style was in reality feudal rule by a handful of families. Until now, there's been little to celebrate. Under previous governments, corruption was endemic, and cronies looted state coffers with impunity. With half the country's 140 million people still without clean drinking water, it's little wonder they view Musharraf as a hero.
इस साल आधे पैसे मिले और काम पिछले साल से डबल से ज़्यादा हुआ है।
सही है। पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद! पाक-फौज जिंदाबाद! पाक-फौज जिंदाबाद! पाक-फौज जिंदाबाद!
Lahore's Mughal fort, symbol of Islam's 16th century conquest of Hindu India, a relic of a martial and often violent past. Now, bizarre new structures dot the landscape. Looking like something out of a theme park, fiberglass reconstructions of the mountain where Pakistan held its underground atomic tests. Replica nuclear missiles, standing like monuments to a war yet to be fought. Political analyst Ahmed Rashid says a dangerous course has already been set.
Tests, the former government of Nawaz Sharif, tried to inculcate a kind of nuclear culture that Pakistan has strength and prowess and can confront India. Yes. So these monuments were set up all over the country, in every centre of every city. And it's been very disturbing to a lot of people because it's trying to prove that, the country just needs a nuclear bomb. It doesn't need anything else to progress and to develop.
The General portrays himself as a man with Western sensibilities. He enjoys the occasional drink, night on the town and game of squash.
So General, are you playing to win?
Oh, well, yes, I always play to win.
In one sense, he's also playing to his friends and supporters, the Americans and the British, to reassure them that this nuclear power is in safe, pro-Western hands.
One love.
The firm hands of a benevolent dictator with a corporate ethos, a self-styled Chief Executive Officer of Pakistan Incorporated.
You call yourself the Chief Executive. Why is that? Why is that corporate title?
I think that is for your consumption, may I say. It's the Chief Executive. It's a very palatable name instead of a Chief Martial Law Administrator, which is rather draconian in concept and in name. I wanted to give it a civil facade.
He is limited. I think he's limited intellectually. Perhaps, his instincts, I think, are very good for what he wants for Pakistan, but I think perhaps what he lacks is a vision of how to implement that, or a vision of what kind of future Pakistan should have, or what he should build.
These are the people General Musharraf describes as his constituency. Tonight, he's special guest at the wedding of a fellow general's son. Another 30 generals look on, now mingling with the captains of industry, at least those whose business empires haven't collapsed with the Pakistan economy.
Thanks a lot. It was lovely meeting you.
Unlike the soldiers, they're not so reticent when it comes to challenging the chief executive when he makes a pitch for business support.
We have all the resources. We've got energy, we've got water, we've got land, we've got natural resources, we've got a dynamic manpower. Now, what is the problem? Where lies the problem?
Pakistan's coordination is a lack of confidence.
In Pakistan, the distinction between the military, politics and big business has long been blurred. In the past, they've all lined their pockets.
God luck. Good luck to you, sir.
We need your prayers and your cooperation.
We stand for you, sir.
Thank you very
God
much.
bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Nice meeting you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Musharraf has promised to stamp out corruption. He claims the master of profitable politics was Nawaz Sharif and his family. We're invited to hear the other side of the story at the vast Sharif family compound near Lahore, where the Prime Minister's male relatives have been under house arrest since the coup. Guards who once protected the former First Family now serve as jailers.
Hello, how are you? Mark Corcoran.
I'm Mariam. I'm the elder daughter of the deposed Prime Minister. I would not rather say deposed. He is the Prime Minister.
How do you do?
Hello.
Mariam has become the champion of her father's cause.
Put it down, Jenny, put it down.
While he languishes in a Karachi jail cell between court appearances, Mariam's husband and other family members are held without charge, just a stone's throw away.
I can smell the danger, but who's at the wrong side? Not my father. Ultimately, General Musharraf is going to be in problem. It's not us. He says that he's not vindictive. What is this? This is all his personal vendetta against Nawaz Sharif, nothing else. Otherwise, okay, if he has, imprisoned Nawaz Sharif for no reason, why are all the other family members, they are being, why are they suffering?
This is my Abu Dhan.
Show him.
Few outside the Sharif family show such affection to the man Mariam's children know only as grandfather.
I love him.
Kiss him.
Hello.
There's another family that knows only too well that had the coup failed, the roles may well have been reversed. The Musharraf family is typical of Pakistan's elite. Well-educated, well-travelled. They arrived in Pakistan as refugees, fleeing a privileged life in Delhi amid the sectarian bloodshed that followed the partition of the British Raj into Muslim Pakistan and Hindu-dominated India.
We left everything there, in 47 when we came here after partition. We started from the scratch. We left everything. We had to run for our lives.
Young Pervez always knew he was going to be a soldier.
Look up!
But it was glamour, rather than idealism or revenge, that drew him to the ranks of the army.
When I was a child in Turkey, in the embassy, my father was in the Pakistan embassy in Turkey. We had two defense attaches who used to wear these beautiful, glamorous uniforms, and I always used to look at them and thought this is... I was extremely impressed by their smartness, and that is the time when I thought I must also wear such uniforms, and that was one issue. Other than that, my mother always thought that I am the type who should go into the army.
He entered a world that cherished the trappings of the past. The British Raj was still alive and well at the Pakistan Military Academy. Officers were gentlemen, and gentlemen played polo. Equally at ease, on the battlefield and at the dinner table. Manners were as important as tactics. Today, the Academy takes great pride in the most famous graduate of the class of '64.
And here is a yearbook which reads, for Pervez Musharraf, has the habit of splitting hairs, had a liking for drill and assault course, a dozen oranges in the morning, extra butter at breakfast, raw eggs and milk at night help Pervez to maintain a cavalry figure. Quite a guy to be with, especially when in affix.
4, 6, 5, 7, 1.
But appearances are deceptive. The Academy has undergone radical change since Pervez Musharraf's days. Most of the so-called cavalry figures have since faded away. Cadets no longer train for military campaigns, but for jihad, holy war. These days, few officers are from the elite families. Increasingly, they're drawn from the madrasas, religious schools that preach Islamic fundamentalism and the liberation of Indian-held Kashmir.
There has been a phenomenal growth of Islamic fundamentalism within the military, and this is reflected now even within the senior officers who are in general headquarters. And I think, there are senior officers who are extremely close to the fundamentalist groups in Pakistan, who would like to see a much more Islamic Pakistan.
Islamabad's Faisal Mosque, the largest in Pakistan. Attending prayers, the nation's elite. Professionals, generals, bureaucrats, diplomats from Islamic countries. Outside, the fundraising stalls of the so-called Mujahadeen, Islamic fundamentalist groups waging a guerrilla war against India in Kashmir. The United States claims they're covertly bankrolled by Pakistan military intelligence.
कश्मीर की जंग दगाए पाकिस्तान की जंग है कश्मीर की जंग लातुज़ात मन्नात के पुजारी को खत्म करने की जंग है कश्मीर की जंग ये वो जंग है जो लातुज़ात मन्नात के पुजारी को खत्म करके अल्लाह के दीन की सरबुलंदी की जंग है लातुज़ात मन्नात का पुजारी
जहाद कश्मीर फंड में अपना अपना हिस्सा मिलाते जाएंगे मुजाहिदीन के साथ माली मामले.
Among the stalls, young fighters from Haqqat ul-Mujahadeen, declared a terrorist organisation by the US for its links to alleged terrorist Osama bin Laden, who stands accused of masterminding the bombings of 2 American embassies in Africa.
Who's your leader? Osama bin Laden.
Can you tell me what this says? Ask him what that says.
ये क्या कहते हैं उर्दू में पढ़ के बताएं ना.
तुम अल्लाह पर ईमान लाए और उसके रसूल के साथ होकर जिहाद करो.
It's this scene that sends the Americans into a rage. They demand Musharraf ban the groups. But it's something he dares not do. The fundamentalists are hugely popular here, tapping into a nationalist sentiment that Kashmir is Pakistani.
And we would like to resolve this issue.
Publicly, at least, all General Musharraf does is deny the obvious.
First of all, we wouldn't like to have Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. Why would he come to Pakistan? I wouldn't like to have him here at all.
His group operates here quite openly at mosques, though.
No, the group doesn't operate in Pakistan. From the
now, there are growing fears that the army has unleashed forces it no longer controls.
They really have an almost kind of different agenda. It's a much more Islamic agenda rather than, if you like, a Kashmiri nationalist agenda. And I think a lot of these groups are out of hand. I don't think they're being controlled by anyone.
Late night finds General Musharraf at home in his study, reviewing his secret daily briefing. Kashmir dominates his agenda.
There's casualties and there's firing and the tension on the borders.
Yes.
He's fought there and is in no mood to give ground to the Indians.
Because there is a total genocide going on in Kashmir. They are killing the civilians. They were killing them right from the beginning. They've got 600,000 troops in Kashmir. What for? To subjugate them, to terrorize them. They have risen. The people of Kashmir have risen against the Indians. They don't want the Indians there.
To find out what's happening with Pakistan's Kashmir Jihad, you need drive only 3 hours from the General's home. At independence in 1947, Kashmir's Hindu leader chose to join India, against the wishes of his predominantly Muslim subjects. Pakistan and India have since fought 2 major wars for control of the state. With another missile monument aimed up the valley towards the Indians, local sentiments are clear. The Indians have the advantage, occupying the snow-capped peaks, but it poses no problem for a young officer instilled with the spirit of jihad.
As far as we are being a Muslims, if we die here, we don't say that we die here, we say we are shaheed. Shaheed, you can say it's an honor. It's an honor for us. Whenever we say that anybody has been martyred in the area and he has got shahadat, we say like God should have given this to us. Why to that person? Like if somebody is shaheed, we feel jealousy of it. We feel jealous that why I'm not shaheed, why he is shaheed.
In sub-zero temperatures, the young captain readies his men for another patrol on the mountain tracks. But the only strangers they're likely to encounter are the Mujahadeen, crossing over to launch guerrilla raids in Indian-held territory. As the snow shrouds the front line, we descend to the village of Chakoti, right on the firing line. Last year alone, 45 villagers were killed by Indian fire, with many more wounded.
24 hours a day. This place is just a shooting range for hunters because of the firing. Just the other day, a woman around the corner was martyred. In 10 to 12 years, there hasn't been a single day without shooting.
Special Friday prayers are being offered at Army headquarters.
I am not a very religious person at all. I wouldn't like to exaggerate this aspect. I am moderately, very moderately religious.
He may not be that religious, but Pervez Musharraf still comes to offer thanks and seek guidance. Politics here is a dangerous business. Of Pakistan's last 4 leaders, 2 died violent deaths, a third lives in exile, and Nawaz Sharif may soon hang. The guards face outwards, but some of General Musharraf's toughest foes, fundamentalist officers, are inside the tent, watching and waiting. For now at least, the fate of Pakistan, and possibly this entire dangerously destabilised region, is in the hands of this one man.
لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك